Hey, so this video's late. Sorry. Um, I'm still sick. We didn't say we were gonna cover the rest of Book of Boba Fett, so I'm sure a lot of people just assumed, we weren't covering it. Uh, but this episode was cool. I remember messaging Jack halfway through and being like, "Hey, bro, let's just do it." And Jack was like, "Yeah." I,
I think I said, I'm still at work. I'll watch it in 2 hours' time.
I mean, if it means anything, I was about to say slight spoilers for the show, but we always spoil this shit. Um, it, I guess slight spoilers for the show before we even get in. The point where I was like, we should probably keep doing this is the second that I figured out that he was teaching the Tusken Raiders to drive the motorbikes. That way they could rob the train. I was like, dude,
Mm.
this is going to be the sickest shit if they pull it off. And then it was the sickest shit. And I was like, oh yeah, no, we can stick with this.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, I feel like we've watched worse for this show.
Oh, yeah.
People can always tell me that those animated shorts that Tartakovsky did are good, but I fell asleep during them, so
Mm.
I can't even remember what I rated those. I might have. I think I gave it one above Captain Marvel. Uh, but yeah, this episode's fucking sick. Speaking of fucking sick, I am also that. I am still very sick. So once again, chat, if my review is a little more spastic, I've gotten better. We can do face cam this time. But just expect me to go on tangents and Jack to have to reel me back in like an out of control bantha. So yeah, how did you feel about this episode?
I was thinking as we were getting that sort of Boba trading the Tuscans bit,
Mm,
we were saying last episode, you know what? We don't need to see any more of this backstory. I think what we got was enough in episode one. We don't need more of this, and I stand by that. We didn't need it, but this was fucking great.
oh yeah, no, I stick by that too. I stick by the fact that we didn't need to see any of this shit. I believe I said to my friend Skylar, we didn't need to know this, but I'm glad they showed it.
Yeah.
That's the problem with good content. Even when you're like, none of this is necessary. If it's good, you're okay with it. And
Hmm.
I do like that it's growing out the Tuscans culture more. Like, honestly, it makes me just feel really bad about what Anakin did. Like, when he went in and slaughtered the women and the children too.
That was one of the more violent tribes, you know?
Yeah, but now that I know that they're people, it sucks. like, if you just watch all of the movies before that and that movie, you could
Hmm.
definitely make the argument. Well, they're like alien monster people. Nah, they're fucking people.
Yeah.
They are normal ass people figuring shit out. They got their own
Hmm.
culture, and Anakin just went in and killed everybody just to do it.
Hmm.
I mean, he had a reason, but
Yeah.
I'm villainizing him.
No, yeah. Uh, all the Tuscan stuff was great, and I think that kind of overshadows a lot of the rest of the episode.
But by the way, you're absolutely right, and I do want to talk more about that because as good as this episode was, I think I mentioned in the last episode where I was like, if they keep doing this flashback stuff, we're gonna get to a point where we're like, one of these should have been the show, and the others should have been something else.
Yeah.
Uh, but before we do that, I want to bring up that in my life, there's been a weird fascination with chairs from people. Like, everybody has said they wanted Captain Kirk's chair. People have said they wanted Thanos' time chair, and I've never gotten it. I want that fucking Jabba's throne chair. I have
Yeah.
never looked at that fucker in the right light until Boba Fett sat in it. It is the coolest shit, and they have it at Disneyland, and I would like to steal it.
Oh.
I mean, look at the fucking Rancor parts. It's cool.
Yeah.
And that was a cool scene in general, where like Fennec is manipulating the guy into thinking they still have the Rancor.
Mm. Well, even then, I'm like, okay, so it's dead. But in Bad Batch, no.
Moochie.
Oh, I know. I was waiting for that. Are we gonna get? Are we gonna get? Is it Moochie? Is Moochie grown up now? Oh my god. No, it was just as funny and worked just as well. Never mind. I'm
I,
still holding out hope for Moochie though.
I guess I'm the weirdo. Is Moochie not the Rancor that died?
There's debate over that. That's getting into your weird variants of Star Wars canon.
I
I
think.
think I want to say the original Rancor from the movie was called Patissa, I think,
Mm,
and it has like a whole backstory and everything. Versus the one introduced in Bad Batch having a different name and everything. And given it's Dave Filoni, I feel like he wouldn't contradict that.
that
But
is true.
equally, again, Captain Rex is on the Battle of Endor now, so they do make slight changes. I'm fine either way. It's not been confirmed one way or the other.
I mean, they did throw in. Ironically enough, I kind of weirdly predicted something while also getting something wrong. Like in the last episode, I was like, I know a droid from the comics they could throw in there, and instead they threw in Black Chrysanthemum, and I
Mm.
was like, oh, okay, I should have mentioned him. Fuck. Because him and Boba Fett were like, air quotes, friends. They worked on a
Mm.
job together.
Colleagues.
Well, he had a very derpy smile. I remember him. There were two arcs I remember him from. There's one where he went after Luke. Uh, I remember that a little bit. I think he got to fight Chewie, which obviously, like, that's probably why he was introduced. He's kind of like the evil Chewie. But the other time was he kidnapped Uncle Owen, like Luke's Uncle Owen, and
Huh.
Obi-Wan had to fight him. And it's hard to see in the show, but there's a scar above his eye. Obi-Wan did that with his lightsaber.
Nice.
I'm also pretty sure he has metal in his fists for some reason.
Yeah. So I mean I've seen all your videos and everything breaking it down since the episode came out.
Mm.
But when he showed up, I'm like, I recognize this character. It's from a comic. So I was like, is he in Dr. Aphra? I haven't read much Dr. Aphra, but I recognized the design as soon as he showed up. And I'm like, okay, this is a character I'm meant to know.
I I almost promise you, Disney has something in store for Dr. Aphra.
Hmm.
Like I have a feeling that if they can just find the right actress, Dr. Aphra is going to be the dopest shit because that's one of the best comic books they got going on right now. That is a random Neil tangent, but
Oh, still on Black Chrysanthemum or
I always used to call him Black Chrysanthemum. I don't know why that sounds
don't
better
know
to
how
me.
it's said yet.
I think it's
Oh,
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum, and we'll go with whatever they say in the show if they say it.
I just
But I feel
really.
like because we have
Mm,
this outfit now, we have this practical thing, and the Obi-Wan series is coming.
I mean,
No
you could
reason
use
not to.
that. No reason not to show that. He's still on Tatooine. Um, I I think what's neat, and I really hope this ends up happening. You brought up in the last episode that there was a shot where it's like, oh, there's this empty spot for a droid. I kind
Mm.
of just want them to put Black Chrysanthemum on that team. because he looks
Ooh.
so cool. Like, I just want it to be like Finnick, Boba, Chrysantan versus the world. Maybe they get a droid as well. I mean,
I mean, they've got the torture one voiced by that one British comedian whose name I forget.
if they get those three together, a droid and Moochie the Rancor, that's the team for me. Like,
Yeah.
fuck the Mandalorian. This is fine. Stick with this shit. Go get Bill Burr. Is that the character, the guy's name?
Migs Mayfeld.
Yeah, go get Bill Burr. He can
Yeah.
hang out.
And every now and then, Luke and Grogu can come over for a barbecue.
Dan has a little kiss the cook thing, and he's flipping burgers. God, I would love that. I would love just the Star Wars family reunion episode. Hey, Boba, how you doing? You left me in the Sarlacc pit, Luke. Yeah, family gatherings are always awkward.
No, Luke would show up. He's the overly religious uncle. That's his
Oh
dynamic.
my God, he is. Dan, you don't understand. The Force will just change you in all kinds of ways. You don't need to take back Mandalore. You don't need that. Have you read these ancient Jedi texts?
I found them in a tree.
They're very applicable to your day-to-day life. Sorry, I have lived the life that we are currently making fun of, so
Oh yeah.
I have a lot of material for this.
Oh, that we need to do something with that idea.
Grogu's one of those. He's like tied between his two families, like my spiritual side and my father. Oh my God! But
Yeah, tangent.
so here's the thing. I thought that. How did you feel about the two? The plot reveal where he's like talking to the mayor. The fucker gets shot. He goes and visits the Twi'lek from the last episode, and then we get like that scene where parading around the town, these two twin huts. How do we feel about that? How do we feel about huts being in the show?
About time.
I mean, I don't like looking at them. Like,
Really?
I don't know what it is because on one hand they look really really good, but since I've seen the Jabba puppet and that looks really really good, the CG is more noticeable to me.
Yes. I
And
think it is the best that CG huts have ever looked.
I agree
This
with
is the
that.
second best huts have ever been. The best being the original Jabba puppet.
I
So
agree with that.
second place ain't bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did like that he was like going to eat this creature, but then he starts using it to like brush off his sweat. I think they look fine. I like the idea of huts being here. It, it's just a little like, I hate to say it, I feel like the problem with some of the things we have reviewed in the past is I've been like, oh, I know where this is going. I kind of feel like we kind of know where this is going again. It's like, this is the villain, Boba's gonna kill it, and then he's gonna take the throne again. But there are still mysteries there where I'm like interested. I'm like, okay, you need to ask permission before you kill a hut. Who are you asking permission from? Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
My mind immediately went to, is it just Big Mama from the Clone Wars? The massive
Oh
hut
my
that can't
God!
leave its house?
No, don't do that. I don't want to see that in ugly ass CG. I don't want to see that at all. I mean, here's the thing, and this is like where my mind went, and I know it's weird, but this is where my mind went. I immediately, for some reason, assumed Luke, and I don't know why. Because, like, Luke's connected to Tatooine still. I was like, okay, well maybe if you kill a Hutt, it would start like a war or something. So you need to ask this powerful Jedi who can back you up.
Maybe. I think it's because the Hutts are, and sort of always have, the sort of crime family.
Mm.
So that's why I was like, you need to go to the one in charge if you want to take out one of the underlings or something, maybe. I don't know.
That is fair. And it could happen. But Luke. Maybe Luke.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe Luke.
It'd be cool to see Luke, but I'm not expecting that.
I remember hearing rumors floating around that we'd see Luke in this show. So, I don't know.
I will say this. It feels like Black Chrysanthemum showing up is probably our bounty hunter cameo for the show. I don't know if we're going to see Cad now. I would absolutely adore seeing Cad, and who knows, maybe if Black Chrysanthemum switches sides, they need a new bounty hunter. But I'm sort of sitting here like, we've already got one badass. Maybe they'll save Cad for someone else.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. So here's my big criticism. And I'll bring it up, then we'll go into the notes. The friggin' Tusken stuff, that was longer and, in my opinion, better than anything we saw in the modern day. And I think that's a problem. Because that's a flashback. That's, once again, that's the previous story we didn't need to know. And it's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great, and I was really loving every second of it. And when we actually dig into it, I am going to praise that part of the show. The problem is, it wasn't necessary, and it greatly outshined the part of the show I'm supposed to be interested in, to the point where I'm like, oh, if I see the Sand People, if I see the Tusken Raiders again, I'm going to be very excited. But I should be excited to be like, oh, these twin Hutts. Where are we going with this? And I feel like to some people, they'd be like, oh, you're bitching that the wrong part of the show is good. And to which I respond, yes. Because that's the part that feels like it needs more focus, and it's really not getting it yet. But again, this could just be something where it's like, well, it's only 2 episodes in. Maybe we catch up and we're done with flashbacks halfway through. Or maybe this was the last one, because it felt like this very well could have been the last one. I don't know if it will be, because I feel like now there's going to be one where he goes and finds Finnick. Like, I feel like there's going to be a flashback where we establish their connection. Well, I've always kind of wondered, after he picked up her, like, dead body and saved her, what was the conversation after that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what was the conversation where it's like, hey, are we friends now? Because it seems like this Boba wouldn't be the type of person to be like, I saved you, you're my indentured servant now. Instead, it feels like there had to be something else where she gained a respect for him.
Yeah, I feel like that was sort of what was implied in Mandalorian Season 2 to me. The way she sort of spoke of it was like, yeah, he saved my life. He's choosing to help you with this. I'm coming along as well. And then by sort of the end of the season, the two of them sort of sat on the throne, kind of together. I was like, okay, they're just good mates. Again, the respect. Yeah. And again, like their banter in the present day, I do quite like.
And it is also possible that they had a past before he found her on Tatooine. I would say it's unlikely to me that they had a past before meeting on Tatooine. They're both
bounty hunters who had dealings with the Empire.
Both don't like Cad
if there was a similar scene to what we have in Empire Strikes Back, with Boba, IG, Bosk, and all that, if a similar sort of commission was sent out by the Empire, they might have both worked on a job together. Who knows?
Oh, that would be really dope if we
Yeah.
find out that Finnick.
I mean, if Boba and Black Chrysanthemum did, then Boba and Fennec might have.
I would just love the dialogue of, like, let's say they meet each other again for the first time, and it's like, "You're Boba Fett. You took that job for Jabba. I was offered that. I said no." I would love that dialogue.
Yeah.
I live for that shit, dude. I live for those references.
Mm.
And to find out that Finnick very well could have been in that line of bounty hunters that Darth Vader set up, and she said no, that's immediately badass brownie points from me.
Mm.
I feel like if we get that flashback where it's like, okay, let's because they could have just kept it at, no, he saved my life, and that's the friendship. But it feels like they're really elaborating on Boba's transformation during his time as a Tusken warrior.
Hmm.
It kind of feels like, okay, well, you're elaborating on literally everything else. Why not show why Fennec's so into him right now? Like, because if it's just, you saved my life, I don't know. It feels like that's not what this show would do, because they're bringing that all to light.
It feels like if that's just the case of, okay, I owe you my life. I feel like she's saved him enough at this point. We might get a moment maybe later in the show where she definitively sort of saves his life.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, we're even now. I'm sticking with you anyway.
It also
could see something like that.
It also definitely, you're right. It feels like there's something more, just kind of in their dialogue. Like they're not like, oh, I owe you my life. It seems like they're chums. Like it seems like they're just palling around. So like they're making jokes like, we need a protocol droid. They're hanging out and punking this guy. She's literally his right hand man. Like she's literally his second in command. She's sitting on the damn arm of the throne. So I guess if we're doing these flashbacks, and yes, I do want more of them, even though I acknowledge we don't need more of them because they're so good. I wouldn't mind seeing the "This is why Finnick is cool with me" episode. Which very well could be the next one. If we follow pacing, it probably should be, because God, they're not giving her enough screen time.
Yeah. It's like we said in episode 1 at the end of that with the flashbacks. Okay, cool. And the Tusken tribe leader or whatever gave him the black melon. It's like, okay, cool. Well, welcome to the club. So, okay, yeah, we know what happens. He gets his stick, he gets his robes and everything, and he rescues Fennec. And he rescues Fennec. He sees Din driving off with his armor, and he goes after him. We know what happens.
Yeah.
Then here, we actually fill in and see him getting the robes and the stick, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So we knew it happened. We didn't need to see it. We saw it, and it was so worth the time.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's really good. It's just overshadowing the other stuff. Like, I honestly don't know how I would fix this problem. I think there are two ways you fix it. Number one, you either A, do all the Tusken stuff in one episode and make that like the first episode, or B, you do what they're doing and you have like a little cameo from the main plot at the beginning of each episode. And then, God, cameo from the main plot. I can't believe that's a sentence I just said.
Yeah, the A and B story have kind of swapped titles at this point.
Yeah, which one is the A and B story? I don't know that either. I kind of want it to be this one, honestly. Like when they're dancing at the end and Boba has to rip the fucking branch from the tree.
We'll get to it.
It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot wait for all the videos from next year's Star Wars Celebration of the hordes of people dressed as Tuskens who have learnt that dance.
I remember pausing during the train stuff and going like, this is going to be the whole episode, isn't it? And then I paused and I was like, oh wait, there's like almost 20 minutes left. Oh, they're going to go back to the main plot. They're going to end on some sort of stinger there. They did not. They did not go back to the main plot.
And I'm gonna disagree. Well, I mean, yeah, the flashback stuff is more interesting
Yeah.
and more fun to watch. But I think the present day stuff, which is relative, it's Star Wars, was still really enjoyable. I liked the okay, so the mayor did it. Okay, let's go talk to the mayor. We're gonna meet who's the mayor? Who's the mayor? And it's this really good looking practical
Mm.
Arthurian, and I'm like, okay, what's this guy's deal?
I love
It's
that
like,
voice, by
oh,
the way.
he's still very much. I get the feeling the mayor, even though he said it's like, oh no. Of course we're on good terms. Hey, go talk to this person who works for you. You wanna get that in order. And all the present day stuff still has sort of shade. It's
Mm.
Boba has taken over from Bib, and I think it's just really interesting to see how much Bib let standards slip
Yeah.
in this meantime. And it
It,
brings up like interesting point with twins. They say it's like, oh well, it's our cousins. We're here. We're taking over. And Boba, quite rightly, I think, points out, yeah, it was your cousins, and then he died, and someone else took over for a while, and then I'm taking over from them. Things have moved on.
yeah, it is interesting how they immediately try to be like, oh, isn't it against the bounty hunter code to take up after your employer? And it's like, I didn't do that. Like, he's immediately like, shut the fuck up. This is what actually happened.
Yeah, and also I think that's a good code to have for in the universe for bounty hunters. Otherwise, it's like, oh yeah, this guy has money and is paying me. If I
Al-
just kill him, then all the money's mine. So
Also, I'm not saying this should have happened, but there was part of me that just was screaming in the back of my head when he was talking to the twins. Boba, use your rocket pack. Boba, use your rocket pack. Just blow them
I
both
mean,
up right now.
I don't know exactly how durable huts are in canon. I
They're
know they're
supposed.
blaster proof at minimum.
I believe they're supposed to be durable as fuck. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if a lightsaber
Hmm.
would be resistant to them, but I'm pretty sure one of the main reason huts are in charge is they can live long enough for other people to kill you.
Yeah.
God, I would love to see that skinny hut that can just kick all the ass, though. I am simultaneously terrified and interested to see that shit.
Oh, just on that, I said earlier when it's like, oh, it's about time, and we're only on episode 2, because I was expecting huts to show up in Mandalorian
Mm.
back when he was like, okay, well, we're on the run now. We've left the guild and everything. We need a job. We need money. Like, oh, go to the huts. Get a mission from them. Didn't happen. The show is none the worse for not doing that, and I think it's really good to see
Mm.
the current state of effects and everything, and what we can currently pull off with the huts. Because I agree, not as good as the original Jabba puppet,
Mm.
but
I,
pretty dang good.
I think it's the mouth. It's always the mouth that gets me with CG. I
Hmm.
think it's the mouth I have a little bit of a problem with. Because, like, yeah, it's forming, like, words like it's supposed to, like, it's forming letters. But the original puppet didn't do that, and it looked more realistic to me.
Eh, I can see that.
I mean, it's just like a big, bulky slug. It feels like I'm being picky about it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, that Wookiee looks absolutely wonderful. Like
Oh yeah.
that does not look like a person in a fursuit, even though it is. That looks like a creature that is going to fuck up everything, and I am
Yeah.
into it.
Again, the series has been. We're only 2 episodes in. The mix of CG and practical has been really good so
Mm.
far. Like I do not know half the time whether the Trandoshans are CG or practical.
I think their faces look a little derpy to me, and I'm not
Yeah,
saying it looks bad. I'm just saying it looks slightly strange to me. Like the eyes might be just a little too big.
that's what I think it's the eyes. It's like the eyes are more expressive than I'd expect if this
Mm.
was animatronic.
It just is. And here's the thing: I have actually heard like I play RPGs a lot, tabletop RPGs. I have actually played with somebody who played as a Trandoshan, and they were like, "Hey, is it okay if my Trandoshan is like more designed after a what's the lizard? Komodo dragon than a traditional Trandoshan?" And then I remember somebody saying, "Yeah, no, one of the comics they established Trandoshans do have like sub races, and they do look a little different."
Okay.
I have not seen that in the animated show, perhaps, but maybe this is just like a different subclass. Like, I guess it's potentially possible that, like, maybe the snouts are a little thicker and the eyes are a little bigger because this is, like, a different version of the Trandoshans. Like, this is the Tatooine branch. I don't entirely think that's impossible. I also don't know
Yeah.
if that's entirely accurate. Maybe my friend was just blowing fucking smoke out of their ass. But you never know. I feel like it's something worth bringing up, and honestly, I would love to see an alligator variant of a Trandoshan, so I am into it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have your, if this is the Tatooine variant, just been on Tatooine long enough that, yeah, slight changes, not survival of the fittest. I could see that.
We've seen stuff like that with like the Jawas,
Mm,
because like what planet was
Jakku.
Grogu on?
Oh no, Grogu was on.
I don't know.
I don't know that planet.
That's where Nick Nolte was an Ugnaught. But
Mm,
essentially, the Jawas on that planet had like red eyes, and they looked
yeah.
ever so slightly different to the classic like orange-eyed Jawa. So I just assume that it's like, oh, these are the Jawas that come from this planet. Those are the Jawas that come from the other planet.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm surprised Star Wars doesn't do that more, where it's like, no, this person has slight alteration. They came from a different planet.
It does it. I mean, you have Zebrax and you have
Mm.
Dathomirian Zebrax, and yeah, there are some examples of it,
Yeah.
but it's not too common. Yeah.
Also, do we want to let's do your notes because I keep forgetting to do your notes. Let's do the fucking notes.
Uh,
Lots to talk about with this one. It's
hmm. Seen the back door of Jabba's palace.
oh
Is the first
yeah.
thing on my notes. I don't know if that's ever been in anything else canon before, but I saw that and immediately went, "That's from the Lego Star Wars, like one of the animated movies. There's like a
Mm.
stupid Han Solo backstory thing where he's pretending to be a Jedi youngling, and
I
C-3PO and
remember
R2 to
that where he calls
yeah,
himself Ian.
yeah, because the H was squint, so they thought it was a
That
capital
was the
I.
dumbest shit. I knew it was on the whole time, and I was pissed when they said it.
Yeah, when they go to Tatooine there and they meet Jabba and everything, it's one of the Lego ones. So the comedy and the jokes there are great. Like the
Although
Jabba's subtitles are physically floating there, and they look at it from behind and all that.
that is
Good
the
jokes.
shit that Lucas would do though, where it's like, hey, look, Darth Vader knew C-3PO, Yoda knew Han Solo. Remember that? Shut up,
No, no, he
George.
knew Chewbacca. Come on, come on.
I do remember Darth Vader kept showing up in that one, and they were like, Vader, no, not this one. God, I love those
Yes, because
freaking.
George Lucas walks on and keeps walking him off set.
I haven't seen all of them, but each
Oh.
one of those Lego specials I have seen, like I've seen the newer ones, I've seen the Halloween one that came out,
Mm.
I've seen the the new Christmas special. Those are great.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah.
very funny.
But in that one, which name I've forgotten, um, there's a bit like in Jabba's back garden, essentially, just around the back of the palace, and it's that same door, and I'm like, it's the door from that Lego special, which I'm sure was in the
That
concept art and comics and other expanded universe stuff beforehand. But no, that was fun to see, and then of course, yeah,
that is a deep dive reference from you.
yeah, yeah. Again, hello, Lego fan here.
I thought you were gonna
Uh,
bring up the Lego games or something because I remember exploring
mm,
Java's palace and that.
no. We meet Mokshais again, the mayor, and he looks great. It's like seeing an aged sort of. I
So
love the almost fuzzy beard he has.
this is kind of like I feel like this is the argument I have for the huts because like I have been to Galaxy's Edge. I have luckily been able to do that, and in there they've got what's the name of the race again? Ithorian.
Yeah,
They
Doc
have
Ondar.
they have one of those guys, Doc Ondar. He runs one of the gift shops. That animatronic looks real, and I have seen it, and I have seen this thing up close and personal. And I look at this mayor guy, and I'm like, you look more realistic than the one I've seen in real life. Like, the one in real life looked super real, and it moved back and forth, and it had these little emotions that were like, oh my god. But you have like little hairs all over you. It's one of those things where it's like I know why the huts are CG, but when you look at this guy and you go, they could have been puppets and it would have been great. Like
Yeah,
this guy's the argument. He could have been CG too, and he looks great.
yeah. I don't think you can dock points for the huts not being puppets, but you can certainly not give the marks that would have gotten.
Yeah, I I can just say that I'm like, look, they're gonna be in more episodes because they're
Mm.
probably the villains of the season. Um, there's going to be plenty of chances I can give them to show off the CG a little bit better than this first episode. We didn't see him
Mm.
long. Maybe I'm the picky asshole. Maybe I'm the asshole, but I look at that guy and I'm like, there was a better path. There
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I'm not mad
That's
at you.
fair. And
I'm not mad at you
majority
for not
again,
taking it.
I would have preferred the practical effects all the way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There are some
Uh,
times though when the CG really works. Like once again, you brought it up. The massives, I believe they're called
mm.
the lizard dogs that I'm in love with now. When they blend the CG and the realistic effects with those guys, it just looks amazing. And I still love looking at them. I want one so bad. I wish they were real.
Give it time. Galaxy's Edge might get sell plushies at some point.
Oh yeah, they've got. Oh my god, I need to go back there because they unleashed a new Lothcat plushie, which is blue and
Oh,
green. And I remember being there, and I was like, I really want this Lothcat, but it's not the color I want. They released the color I want, so now I need to go back.
Oh.
God, I want to take you to Galaxy's Edge. You'd
I
fucking
know,
love
I
it.
know. Galaxy's Edge is 100% been on my bucket list. Me and my old flatmates were like, "Ah, oh, when we finish uni, we need to go to we need to go. Oh, that'd be great." COVID. Oh well.
If you ever go, let me know. I will
Oh no,
save up.
we're making a video out of that if we do.
Oh fuck yeah, I'm with you, man.
No, definitely. Uh,
We can just be lore nerds. Rise of the Resistance is probably the best ride at Disney World. I'll say that.
okay.
But continue your notes.
Uh,
Sorry, I
I was a
hijacked
little
you.
thrown off when Boba goes to the sanctuary and is talking with the Twilight lady that runs it, whose name I've forgotten. I'll hopefully have down pat by episode 3.
Mm.
Uh, said, "Oh, the twins." He's like, "Ah, they're too busy on Hutta." I'm like, "Is this a new planet? Or is this colloquialism?"
I
Yeah, colloquialism from Mal Hutta. Fine.
yeah, I remember Mal had. I played the Star Wars Old Republic game, and there's like a thing that takes place on Malhada.
Mm.
Uh, I I was actually when he said Hada, I thought is he just like shortening it or something. Um,
Yeah.
I wasn't thrown off by that. It wasn't a situation. Oh God, do you remember that thing from Clone Wars? I can't remember it exactly, but there was a planet, which is like Planet of the Siths, right? And they
Yes.
changed the name because in Legends it was something else.
Oh.
Oh, it was Korriban. It was in Legends.
Yes.
It was Korriban, and George thought Moraban sound cooler, so he changed it and made it something new just because Moraban sounded cooler. And I just
Yep.
remember sitting there like, George, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus fucking Christ.
I forget. Do both exist
I
now?
guess now, in my head canon, look, there are things that there are things where I'm like, no, it's the canon of the show. You have to follow it. I just kind of view that as a typo. Like, in my mind, I have always been like, somebody just got the name wrong when Yoda was going there. Yoda
K and
didn't
M are quite
correct
close to
them.
each other on a QWERTY keyboard. I could see that typo. Yeah.
In my head canon, whoever told Yoda, or if Yoda said I have to go to Moravan, he just didn't know the name of the planet and he got it wrong. That is for me. And if
What was
Mhm.
the one in Rebels with a big Sith temple on it?
I don't remember. I don't think that was either. I think that was something
Malachor,
else.
that was it.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Which one had the time? Is that the time travel temple? Is that the temple where they do time
No,
travel shit?
that was on Lothal.
That was on Lothal. You're correct.
Yeah,
Well, it
the
was.
world between worlds.
You started on Lothal, and then you went to this other dimension thing, which I'm gonna be real. I thought that was gonna be where the movies went at the time.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people saying it's like, don't worry, they'll retcon the sequel trilogy out of existence using the world between worlds.
I don't. Here's the thing. I'm okay with time travel in theory, but the second you throw time travel into your story, it's like, well, why didn't you use time travel? You have it. I feel like
Well,
Avengers is going to deal with that.
to go with the slight tangent on that in Rebels, is it time travel though? Because Ezra in the present day goes into the world between worlds, sees Ahsoka in the fight with Anakin, pulls her out of that moment, and the temple collapses and everything. But at the end of that episode, there's the flash of white light as Ahsoka comes back from the world between worlds. She's there. She just goes to another location for 5 minutes, then comes back out at the same time. She doesn't go to the present. She comes back to that point where she left, just like 5 minutes later. So it's not necessarily you can go there and go, we don't know if Ezra could have taken her to the present or what. I'm fine with it with that sort of limitation.
I forgive it. Like, I'm not mad at it. In fact, I do like it. I just don't want Ahsoka to be dead. I'll be real. I don't want Ahsoka to be dead. And
she's not.
If she would have stayed in there with Darth Vader, we can kind of assume what happened. But I would say that a future version of Ezra did tamper with the past. So to me, that is kind of time travel.
Okay, but it's the fucking Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone time travel where, yes, it happened, but it always happened that way.
And handled better than in that. Because in that, they say it in the books. In the books, they accidentally destroy all the time turners. In the movie, I don't even think they say that. I think they just pretend that time turners aren't a thing anymore. Here, it's like, all we know is this one place that's very hard to get to, and the temple, like, breaks down, is a place you can do this shit at.
Yep.
I'm just... Dude, this is probably something I would do, like, its own video for. I just wonder if one day the Mortis gods are going to be, like, a thing again. Because, like, that Al's still following Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So, if that Al's still around, I've always been like, well, what if the brother's following somebody, too?
That'd be a good excuse.
But maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, why is it that friggin' Palpatine keeps coming back? Maybe he's got someone in his corner. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I'd like that because then we could get like Sam Witwer properly in live action Star Wars. just cast him as the brother.
Did you hear that he was the Rhodian in episode 1 of the show?
Yes, yeah. And then was it Robert Rodriguez is the mayor as well. He does the voice for that.
I mean, the guy was in Mandalorian too. Has a quick blink and you miss it cameo. I honestly think and I'll stick by this. We're getting the Book of Boba Fett. Can we see? I don't know the crimes of Darth Maul or some shit like that.
I don't know how I'd feel about a Maul series.
We know there is a period of time between Solo and his death in Rebels that he was doing some shit, and I would be curious to know what it was, because at the end of that shit, he ends up crazy on a planet. So I want to know that shit.
I want to know that. I want to know that in the way that we've currently been doing Darth Maul, where you just have him show up in a TV show for an arc, or you have him briefly appear in a movie, something like that. Like, have him in Andor, or something like that. You know, don't give him his own show, because at the moment, Sam Witwer doing the voice 100%. You're not replacing that. So what they did in Solo, where they had, and I'm blanking on the name.
The original actor and
the original actor, and it was Sam Witwer doing the voice.
That's how you cheat it. You just say the
and
original
then in the Clone
actor.
Wars finale, they had the original actor doing the rotoscope mocap, and they had Witwer doing the voice again. Yeah,
honestly,
it's the two of them.
I wouldn't mind a Maul animated show either. Like I'll just be real.
Short series.
Yeah.
I don't want them to drag it out.
I feel like there's...
Speaking of dragging things out, I'm gonna pull rank here, which I do not have, and get us back on track.
You absolutely have rank.
Yeah, no. Especially with Star Wars, we could go on, and this video be hours long. We're coming up on an hour. We're like 15 minutes off.
And
so.
We haven't even talked about the meat of the episode yet.
Nope.
We've referenced it though.
The twins show up. Flashback. Okay. I immediately questioned when there's the roar, and is this a Krayt Dragon? Is it a Krayt Dragon?
Oh, I did
it's
the
train.
same thing.
It's a train, and you get a quick shot of one of the people on the train shoot, and I'm like, is that a pike? It's a pike.
Oh, yeah.
Again, live action pikes again. Cool.
God,
I was really thrown off when they took off the mask though at the end, because I'm like that.
I didn't think they were going to take it off, because if you, like, once again, I know you just said you're pulling rank and we're going in a different direction.
No.
Shout out to Clone Wars. I remember being like, wait a minute, aren't those the fuckers who do the spice trade? And then in my head, I was like trying to be like, what's their name? Pikes! And then when they took off the mask, because I did not think they were going to, I thought they were just going to have those. I honestly was okay with it. It did not look perfect to me. I was like, and I guess I didn't mentally realize that they were aquatic in Clone Wars. But I thought he looked fine. I was like, that's probably the best you could do, and I accept it. They look okay.
Yeah.
They don't look like perfect. They don't look as good as Black Chrysanthemum looked, but I'm okay with it. I can accept this.
Yeah. The thing, so I watched this episode with my little brother, and I was like, "Oh, those are pikes! I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" He went, "Like the fish," and I'm like, no, more like the the weapon." And then when they took off the mask and they were fish, I'm like, "Oh my god, you're a genius!" But no, I was thrown off. I wasn't sure if they were or not when they took off the mask, because they look so different from Clone Wars. But everything in Clone Wars looks so different from the live action anyway. It's the art style, that's just the depiction of these things in animation. They look good, and they don't have your CG Huts problem. The mouths don't move; they just open and close.
And I was okay with that. I was chill with
that.
Yeah,
they're like fish. They're just opening and closing the mouth.
Here's the thing: there's two ways you do the pikes. Either A, full CGI creature, because in Clone Wars they look skinny as fuck, and they
Hmm.
have like bigger arms, like they look
And
a bit
massive
more
heads.
alien. But if you really want to break it down, and I'm pretty sure we have seen Pikes in those masks before in the
Yes,
background and stuff.
I think they were in Solo.
Yeah, so if you break it down, you have to take that mask off and keep the body and stuff intact. I thought they did an okay job for what they needed to do.
But I was just really thrown off initially, like, that's not what a Pike looks like. And then as the scene went on, I'm like, no, never mind. I accept this.
I was thrown off when I watched one of those breakdown things and found out that the people in the bar that Boba Fett saves are like Luke's besties. I was like,
From a deleted scene.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, I watched these with the subtitles, and the subtitle was like, Kami. I'm like, okay, I guess this is some deep cut character. Don't know who it is.
Just really
then,
hope here's the thing, and this is how I work in my brain. If they're getting to be in a show later, this was good setup, I guess. But like, please don't give them their own thing. I don't want that.
No, they won't. I doubt it. I mean, they did a good job recreating the set and everything for Toshi Station. Finally, properly seeing Toshi Station.
Yeah.
And again, looking at the actors, good job recasting them and everything. Don't expect to see them again. It's just a fun wee, hey, look, they're still around. They're still canon.
So, are those... Correct me if I'm wrong. Are those guys that Boba Fett stole the bikes from, are they the pirates from last episode?
Yes, the guys who like sort of raided that moisture farm, they spray painted the same logo. Yeah, same guys.
They're the same species as God, I'm blanking on his name, but I love the character so much. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The pirate who goes Hondo Ohnaka. Yes, thank you.
Are they? I wasn't sure if they were Weequay or if they were.
I'm pretty sure they're Weequay.
I think so. They just, I don't.
I hope I'm not doing a Star Wars racist.
No.
I really hope I'm not doing a Star Wars.
I thought they were that one. There's a Jedi of that species. I'm blanking on the name of, but they might be.
I think you might be right. I might have unintentionally grouped two Jedi races together.
I think I initially assumed they were, but then I remembered the Weequay from who I don't think we have a name for, and Cobb Vanth does a bit of a Star Wars racist and just calls him by his species name. The bartender from episode 1 of season 2 of Mandalorian.
Do we want to take bets on
Remember how he looked? He had the dreads, he had the sort of beard of spikes.
Now here's the thing. You know how you were like, oh, Mando's gonna get jobs from the Hutts. We're gonna see that in Mandalorian. I was that same thing, but with Hondo. Like, I was like, he's gonna go find Hondo and get jobs. Do we want to take bets? How long until Hondo's in one of these shows? Because we know it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Which one and how long?
Don't expect him to be in Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Could maybe, just because I feel like Andor is going to have that sort of vibe. I could see him pop up in Andor.
I'm gonna take the ultimate risk. I'm putting my money on Obi-Wan. I think he's gonna be in the Kenobi show.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing.
Just because that's the next one coming, and you'll be immediately proved wrong.
Now, it's established that they know each other.
Yeah.
It's established that they're friends, and it's established that Obi-Wan spent a lot of time just sort of hanging out and watching Luke and going on the occasional adventure. Really think Hondo never came in to be like, I've got this Jedi friend. I'm just saying, man. I could see it. I could also see it being Ahsoka, because that's actually, the sequel.
The more I think about it, Kenobi would, if they were gonna do it, Kenobi would be a good one for that. Because I was gonna say we could like name drop and allude to Ezra.
That's true.
But then I remembered. I mean, it depends how long that time skip is between season 2 of Rebels and season 3 of Rebels, because it would need to happen in there, because then he meets Old Man Kenobi.
I mean, I think it's possible for Kenobi.
Hmm.
That's where I would put my bet currently. I almost promise you it will happen eventually. Like Hondo is one of the Clone Wars breakout characters. Like he is literally the star of Galaxy's Edge. Like he's
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's the thing.
People know who Hondo is.
I'm gonna put my guess on Andor.
Mm-hmm.
My bet's on Andor. But if we see Hondo in live action, I want to see him as the Galaxy's Edge version.
Oh yeah.
The sort of older, well-worn and traveled, but still got that Jack Sparrow energy to him.
I mean, I will say this: everything I said about the Doc Ondor,
I've seen the
animatronic.
videos. I've seen the videos.
I have, yeah, I've seen a video where like Jim Cummings' voiceover is like perfectly synced to an actor, and I'm like, "You are beautiful." I just look at him and I'm like, "Jesus Christ, you're real." That is the standard I have for whenever we get Cad in one of these. If ever, God, I'd love to see Cad.
Yeah, I feel like Cad would be a little more difficult just because of the eyes and head shape, but
the voice
if they
is
could
also
pull off
slower.
Hondo, they can pull him off. Yeah,
The voice is slower and a bit more pronounced, though. You could kind of do it.
yeah.
I mean, fucking Hondo talks so quick. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I liked. I think one of my favorite things about this is Star Wars has kind of gotten itself in a good place where it can adapt those older stories about cowboys that unintentionally, at the time, like objectified Native Americans a bit. But Star Wars, because it is all aliens, they can adapt those same ideas in a way that is not, racist. Racist and rude and offensive.
Yeah.
I think that it is very interesting to see Boba Fett go to this tribe and not only become a part of it, but also try to also better it. Like,
yeah,
they obviously they leave a huge impact on him. Like you can see in his fighting style how important that stick combat is to him now. He learns the dance. He really does feel like part of the tribe at the end of this episode. But he also teaches them how to ride the motorbikes and helps them take out these technologies. And I love how there's a line where it's like, every inch of these sands. Every inch of it. This is your turf. You need to take it back. And this is where I feel so bipolar about this show. Because on one hand, I really, really love the Sand People stuff, and I love the Tusken Raider stuff. On the other hand, you don't need any of it, because we know what happens.
To take it with Star Wars, same can be said for the entire Clone Wars TV show.
I mean, that's kind of fair. That is kind of fair. I would argue that nowadays, though, you can't really say that because of how many people keep showing the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say this: if you don't know who Ahsoka is, you just fucked. Because she's about to take over.
That one character from that episode of Mandalorian, yeah.
Oh yes, the random Jedi who referenced a master we don't know much about. I'd love to learn more about
white
her.
lightsabers and this owl and yeah. No.
I want to meet that casual fan who's like, I wonder who her master is, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, you wonder that. God damn it, this is great.
Yeah, again, the entire sort of train action sequence was great. I loved like how immediately they took out a bunch of the Tuscans, and you're like, okay, we have stakes. We're losing members. Here we go.
And I cared about them.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest part. Like, I was actually expecting one of them to take their masks off. Like, I was like, is this where we're going to see it?
That, if they do that, will ruin the show for me.
Really?
Never show us under the Tuscans' masks.
I'm curious, honestly.
I'm curious. To me, it's similar to the Midnight Entity from Doctor Who, from the episode Midnight. Never reveal what it is. Because that will, for that episode specifically, that will ruin that episode. For the Tuscans, it's like, unless, and if anyone was going to do it, Favreau and Filoni, I'd trust you to do it and do it well, but I don't want to see. It's like a Jawa. I don't want to see what they look like under in the sun without the hood up. No, keep these two faces hidden.
I feel like in extended lore and stuff, we've probably seen it. Like, I feel like if someone searched it up, you could probably find it.
Yeah, I think there was some video game or something that showed them, and again, we know. They alluded to it in this episode as well. The oceans and everything of Tatooine back in the day. We know that Jawas and Tuscans like share a common ancestor and stuff like that from back in the day.
And they've been around for a fucking while. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be the opposite of you. I want to see it. Because here's the thing. The whole thing this show is doing is humanizing the Tusken Raiders, really showing off their culture. How do you show more that they're people than to actually take off the mask and show us what's under there? I feel like there is a very goofy chance that if we see what's under there, we're like, oh, okay. And we just kind of keep moving. But I'm going to be real. Like, that warrior person who... Like,
the ones like the sort of red and the long sort of black almost dreads they've got, yeah.
Yeah. That warrior person. I love them. I wonder if they and Boba Fett like are going to get like this deep friendship, and maybe we see their face, or maybe the kids. I don't know. I don't want to see them all take off the masks or anything.
No.
I just want to see one. I just want to see one to understand what they look like.
If you were gonna do one and have me not hate it, I could see you do the kid.
I'm okay with it being the kid. I'm okay with that. I mean, this is basically his family now, and honestly, I argue we might need to see a flashback where he decides to leave, like where he makes the choice. No, I'm not going to stay, because it honestly kind of seems like he had it good. Like he could have just lived out the rest of his life as like a Tusken Raider and been happy with his tribe.
I feel like, along with the Fennec stuff, the flashback that I kind of want to see now that we have this relationship with the Tuskens is I want to see Boba out doing whatever he's doing, harvesting melons or something, and he sees Din Djarin and Speeder go by with his dad's helmet and armor on it, and I want to see him go back, having seen it, and be like, okay, thank you for everything. I've got to go. Wishing you the best and everything. I want to see that scene and how that plays out.
It might actually be Fennec that inspires him to like step up a little, because
Fennec would have lived with, well, assuming he didn't. Well, it depends when he left the tribe, I suppose.
I wouldn't be surprised if he took her to that farmhouse that is assumably abandoned there.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm also a little curious where Boba was able to get the tech to repair her chest. So they got to explain that.
Well, they've got that entire train worth of stuff.
They've got the speeder bikes too, so theoretically, like Boba's not a prisoner anymore. He can go whenever he wants. Honestly, Part of me wonders if one of the reasons Boba is like taking over Tatooine is to give his tribe a bit more space to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the sole reason, but that's certainly in tandem with it, because as he sort of says to the Pikes, I don't know if I took a note of it. He's like, oh, yeah. He basically says, you can still use these routes and everything, but you have to pay us to do that.
Mm.
And again, like, oh, for any deaths will be paid back tenfold. And it's like, oh, shit, okay.
God, he
I,
was
I like that
badass in that scene.
he's building up this network, and he's sort of come into this tribe, worked his way up from the bottom, and is establishing like it's Star Wars trade deals.
You know,
He's setting these guys up to succeed, and then he's gonna disappear and go off and does his own thing.
what's
And
the?
I am certain
Mm.
that at least one of the Tuscans from this tribe is coming back
Oh
in
yeah,
present day. We're seeing them come back.
likely that warrior.
Hmm. That warrior, the kid, I could even see, and if I was sort of starting here, if you had me write the rest of the season,
Mm.
I'd have third to last episode, Boba fails, whatever, he loses the throne, the two huts move in or whatever,
He goes
and he's
back.
out in the desert, he's like left for dead in the desert, and meets up with his tribe again.
Okay,
And
okay.
you get the penultimate episode is then him with them, he's getting back to how he
I
teams up with them to go and take it back.
I would hate this for specific reasons. Not what you're
Okay.
saying. I would hate what I'm about to say. I
Okay.
would hate this for specific reasons. But if everything you're saying happens and they do take him back to the desert, in Legends continuity, Boba Fett goes into the Sarlacc pit more than once. He goes in like
Oh my
seven
god.
times. So it's kind of poetic, but what if
Okay.
they're like, we're throwing you back in, bitch? You tried to take our throne, you're going back in the pit. And then the the Tuscans come in and save him from it. I don't know. Part of me wants it. A big part of me is like, don't you fucking dare.
Oh.
Because if I remember, it's like some ridiculous number that how many times he's been in the Sarlacc pit. I think it's like 7. It's just some undeniably strange number.
Was this like one story, or did they just keep like writing a story? It's like, oh, and he gets out and he has this adventure and gets thrown back in.
If I recall, a lot of Boba Fett stories would end with back in the pit.
Oh my god.
Well, the problem is if you wanted to like stay in the continuity of the movies, in the
Hmm.
continuity, Boba's story ended with him in the pit. So every time Boba shows up, he's got to go back in the pit for continuity to make sense.
It's like at the end of Clone Wars, they don't cut them all in half again, though.
No, they don't. Look, I don't know. I'm not George Lucas or the many
I know, I
writers.
know, I know. Oh,
I,
yeah.
I can't remember if
Seven
it's 7 or
times.
5. Look, at one point I thought it was 13, and then my cousin corrected me.
That's one of those stupid things. Like you can look up, was it Chopper's kill count, Chopper's body count from
Oh
Rebels,
yeah,
and
I
it's like
remember
in
it
the
being
thousands.
huge. Didn't he blow up a planet? He like
Chopper's
blew up a
body count.
station or some shit.
19 confirmed direct kills, estimated 49,997.
Yeah, I remember him blowing
Using
something up.
sabotage, and a further 20 using. What's
Look,
this article? Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, don't put him back in the pit. But also, part of me's like, put him back in the pit. I'm very like undecisive about this because on one hand, I think it's really stupid. On the other, it kind of fits.
How many times did Boba Fett fall into the Sarlacc pit?
I remember it being such a huge number. I remember it being ridiculous. Not even kidding. That Sarlacc pit shit. That is the real reason why I was ever always like, we don't really need a Boba Fett show. I don't need that. I don't. Did you find it on the Google?
Google doesn't bring up a direct answer. I'm checking a few
So
articles
many
and stuff,
times.
seeing what comes up.
So many times.
Ugh.
You Google it and it just says too many.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I am loving. Honestly, I don't think before the show anybody like I brought up D&D in the Star Wars universe because there is an official Star Wars tabletop RPG, and I I've I don't think anybody in the world before the show would want to play a Tusken Raider. I am like in. I love learning about their culture. I love seeing like how they survived in the desert. Like,
Mm.
oh, they get these like things they call black melons, which are essentially just little capsules in the ground with water in them. That's why they have the massives because they can sniff them out. They have this lizard that gives you like a drug trip. Well,
Yeah.
I think the
We haven't even addressed that yet.
did did they throw spice in Boba's face and that's why he had the trip?
I think so. Yeah.
I think the
I think it's a
lizard just
combination of the
guided him.
two. I think the lizard I took to be like those like frogs that you lick and are hallucinogenic as well.
I just love the line of "I will raise it and I will appreciate it forever." I think I swallowed it.
It's like oh, a lizard.
You can't. Here's the thing. I was fully prepared to sleep on this show. Like I was like, okay, I'll watch it in my own time, but like, we're doing this in between Marvel stuff.
Hmm.
I feel like you can't do that. I feel
Yeah.
like this episode is like. I think because Hawkeye ended and they went straight into this, I was like, oh, okay, this is their sleeper thing. They're hoping that
Hmm.
the Marvel people will go to this, which they did. But nah, dude, this is like I feel like it's a lot deeper than episode one implied. And once again, I need them to focus more on the shit going on in modern day.
Yeah.
That's my big criticism because like again, it's episode 2. We don't know how the rest of the show is going to be. I want to say they spent like 10, 15 minutes on what is assumably the A story, and then the rest of the episode on the backstory. And I'm
Yeah.
not complaining because it's so good, but I am complaining because it's like, this is not. This could have bad ramifications down the road, you know?
Yeah. We don't hate it. It's not bad, but we'll see how it goes. Because again, it's like what if we get to the final episode and it's like, yeah, the Tuscan story was better. You should have just done the Tuscan story.
Yeah. I mean,
We'll see. That I'm enjoying the present day stuff. It is not the best of the two. The Tuscan is way better.
mm,
Present day stuff's fine.
I mean, on one hand, if they would have just done Tuscan stuff, I think I would have been pissed because I would have been like, well, where does this lie in relation to Mandalorian?
Hmm.
But weirdly enough, it's kind of Mandalorian that sabotages the show a little. Because if we had no idea that Boba does eventually, like, go back and take Jabba's
Yeah.
throne, like, that would be an awesome stinger for episode 3, where it's like he kills Bit Fortuna and takes the throne.
Then this show is just in that case. This show would just be lost. It's like, yeah, on the island and everything. We keep cutting back to or later seasons of Lost where they are like flashing forward briefly.
I mean, on one hand, I'm with you, and I'm like, the Tuscan stuff is better. Just focus on that. But on the other hand, I'm like, I want to know what's going on in the modern day. So it's this big.
Oh yeah, no, I
It's so weird. No, I
100% do
know.
want to know what's in the present day. Is just if we get to the end and the modern day stuff isn't that interesting.
Yeah.
Is my worry. We're 2 episodes in.
It's weird to rank it to say the least. Like when I'm doing my rankings, I'm like, do I beat up the fact that they're not focusing on their main plot, or do I celebrate the fact that what they are focusing on is really good?
Hmm.
And I think I am leaning towards I'm just gonna focus on the good stuff
Yeah.
because the main plot isn't bad. It's just not getting the attention it needs, in my opinion. I
Hmm.
don't know.
I feel like that would be so like you see a trailer for a movie and you go in and see it and it's like, ah, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't what I expected, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'm taking that look on it at the minute.
I guess my like if this were a movie and if it were all tighter, I think
Hmm.
I'd be a little more forgiving. Like I guess something I'll compare it to, just to stay under the Disney umbrella, is Shang-Chi, where there's tons of flashbacks in that, but they
Hmm.
never lose focus of like, no. The main story is the Mandarin is trying to go to this place, trying to get there. They never lose focus on like he's collecting his children, he's getting them back. We're still seeing the origin story. We're still seeing how he met his wife. We're still seeing young Shang-Chi accepting this new dangerous mission. We're still
Hmm.
seeing all that, but they never really lose track of where the story is. If you asked me, where is the story of Book of Boba Fett, I would say it's with the Tuskens. Like that's the story I'm interested in right now. The new one's
Yeah.
cool, and I want to see where it goes. I'm staying for that cool culture I'm getting right
Hmm.
now.
No, I agree. Like I was thinking about that this episode. It's like you could have condensed down the present day stuff. I like it when you take your time and show us the stuff, and we get the shots of everything, and you take your time with it. Of course, please do. Don't rush things. But it's like he could have come to the sanctuary, gone to the mayor, and gone outside and met the Hutts, all in episode one.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had the fight scene and everything. But like for the sake of the story, if you needed to trim stuff out, you could have trimmed that out.
If you cut this together in the right way, because there's part of because of Mandalorian, there's parts of the Tusken stuff we don't need to see. Again, love seeing it, but there's stuff we didn't need to see.
Hmm.
I feel like you could have put the Tusken stuff together and made that episode one. Episode's the backstory episode. We get just those flashbacks, and then episode two is everything we've seen in the modern day. And then episode three, we return to flashbacks a little, maybe learn a little more about Finnick and Boba's relationship. And
Hmm.
then four, five, six, all of them modern day. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, I can see. Again, I feel like they wanted to do a modern day like Boba show, but they went, "This is our chance to show him getting out of the Sarlacc pit. Oh, well, he's on Tatooine. We can show off all this stuff with Tuskens. We can do all this. We can do
And you
this. We can do
can't
this."
really get mad at them because they did
No,
so much cool stuff with it.
yeah. Again, we've barely touched on. So, do, do the Tuskens have some connection to the Force here? Is this
I
like
was
the?
wondering
Is this
that.
like the Night Sisters?
I was
I was like, oh,
wondering.
it's magic, but it's the Force.
That is okay. Look, I remember that you said whenever Marvel like references the blip, you're immediately
Mm,
interested. Whenever they reveal how a different culture sees the Force, I'm like, I'm sold. Fucking tell me.
yeah,
And
yeah.
to me, this is how the Tuskens view the Force. Like that,
Hmm.
all those eyes in the sky, that didn't feel real to me. So that felt like some sort of Force thing that Boba was seeing because he was in like a hallucinogenic state.
Yeah, I do question specifically the eyes because then in like the concept art and the credits, it shows that those are meant to be Jawas.
Mm.
It's like, okay, so were they up in the tree? Were they just nearby? It's
They're
like it's so cool because they call it the Dune Sea repeatedly, and here we see it shifting like oceans. That allows you to cut to
that gave me
Camino, and
Tintin vibes, dude. That gave me major Tintin vibes.
it's such a good sequence.
By the
And the
way,
branches of the tree becoming the Sarlacc. And
Chad, I haven't
it's
talked about it in a while. I fucking love the Tintin movie that came out.
hmm.
So I will constantly reference it. There's a scene where like Haddock is hallucinating and this ship comes in over like the dunes of the sea, and as it is about to hit him and Tintin, we go into like the flashback and water just showers over them. It's such a pretty scene, and it really reminded me of this because
Hmm.
I believe in Legends they establish uh, Tatooine used to be all water. Like it,
Yeah, I remember it was like a tropical planet that was then glassed. However exactly that worked. And then the
mm,
glass eroded over thousands of years into sand again, yeah.
God, that's such a cool concept. But
Yeah.
I
Which
think
which gets was covers your ass of like, oh yeah, back in the day it was 100%. Oh yeah, you
and
go to a planet, it's a desert. Oh yeah, the entire planet looks like this.
what's
Like, I
neat
know.
to me
Here's the
though,
here's the reason.
what's neat to me though, is you saw the Dune Sea. They're referencing that. I thought they were referencing Camino. Like
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
they do.
I
They use
thought.
that sort of they cut back and forth between the two of them with that.
I I just I love that scene and the fact that he does. Look, until proven otherwise, this is a force drug trip to me.
Hmm.
He is seeing himself in relation to the force, and I think my personal explanation for why he saw Jawas in the trees is going to be the Jawas are the ones that stripped him of his armor. So
Uh,
to me, maybe they're the ones who made him what he's not. And in that scene, that's kind of him accepting I'm not who I was before the pit. I have to be something else. And then he literally leaves with the stick. Like he leaves with the decision, this is who I'll be now.
hmm.
And
I like that. I like that reading of it.
shout out to what's the name of the actor again? I'll look him up.
Tamir Morrison
Tamir Morrison. That man is in that onesie for all of the like that little jumpsuit thing that
from
looks
under the original Boba outfit. Yeah.
yeah, he looks quite ridiculous in it, honestly. And the entire time he's still got a serious face and he's still intimidating and you know what? Fucking sold. I don't care
Yeah.
that you're like in an old man jumpsuit. You look great. And when he fight oh my god, when he joins the I might
Oh,
cry, dude. This is the
the
Star Wars
roaming
shit.
up sequence. Yeah.
This is the Star Wars shit I live for.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. He's even
had,
holding
had,
the fucking stick.
I know. I had I had the choice. They had the in armor version or the out of armor version. I'm like, the out of armor version.
You
Oh,
chose correctly.
yeah. And this was ages ago. Got this. This was back in like summer, I think.
Man,
Oh,
you chose right, dude, because like
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Again, I said this in our recording for last episode. Didn't really care for Boba Fett in the up until he showed up in Mandalorian.
mm, oh,
It's
agreed.
like, yeah, cool design. Yeah,
I
nice.
think it was the fine people at Mr. Sunday Movies who said, I either want a Boba Fett movie where he's actually a badass or a Mr. Magoo style comedy where Boba Fett just sort of walks through and accidentally kills all his threats.
uh,
And either was kind of acceptable in my mind.
hmm,
But
hmm.
now that we God, this is why whenever people are like, Disney is ruining Star Wars, I am very aggressively like, shut the fuck up.
Hmm.
Like, Mandalorian's great. Bad Batch is great.
I'm
This
as
show
far as I'm
is pretty
concerned,
great.
it's Disney backing other people doing Star
Mm.
Wars
I mean, to
for
be
the shows.
fair, Favreau is doing God's work. But,
Yeah,
I mean, I
you,
you can't,
I,
you can't,
I haven't. He's done enough that I can
mm,
let the live action Lion King slide.
wow, you've reached that point? You can
Yeah,
forgive him?
Mandalorian, Jungle Book, Book of Boba Fett,
I just
Robert
didn't.
Downey Jr., Iron Man.
I just didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I was never scathed. I think I
Oh
would.
no, I wanted to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with
Mhm.
my little brother. I've got two brothers, and he wasn't 18 at the time.
Oh dear.
So it's like, oh, well, parents were like, oh, what else is on? No, we'll give you the money to go. No, they said, oh, we'll see what else is on. I'm like, oh, the new Lion King? Nah, it's fine. We'll just stay home. Like, no, we will give you the money. Go see this. I'm like, fine. I'm not spending my own money on it. Sure. Let's go get popcorn and a drink and a comfy seat for an hour.
Once again, another tangent, but I have to say this. The second I like heard "Be Prepared" is not in it, I was like, done. No,
Yep.
I'm out.
He says some of the
Yeah,
lyrics.
I looked it up because I was curious because people told me it's in it, but it's also not in it. That is, I feel like somebody told them last minute, we need to have it in there, people will get pissed. So they tried to compromise. And I'm just
Mm.
sitting here like, if they do a live action Princess and the Frog and they cut out Friends on the Other Side, I might actually I might actually have to like get aggressive about these stupid fucking things. Like I might have to be like, these suck.
I mean, I'm
Aladdin
going to
was
be
fine.
aggressive about a live action Princess and the Frog because it's not going to be Keith David, but.
I mean, a
Uh,
lot of people want Anthony Mackie, which I think would be great casting.
ooh, okay,
I've
okay.
I've never heard him sing, but
Yeah. You just use the same audio just for the song.
I'd take it, man.
No, but no, yeah, the live action Lion King is absolutely horrific. They sing, "Can you feel the love tonight?" in the daytime. How did you fuck that up?
I do remember apparently Timon and Pumbaa are funny in that, but
Yeah, like the best joke, best moment in the entire movie is they're about to go into Hakuna Matata, and instead Timon and Pumbaa go, "Be our guest." I'm like, oh my god.
okay, that would
Oh.
make me laugh my ass off
Yeah,
in the
that is the
theater.
one moment I think I had a smile on my face the entire film.
I
Uh,
okay. Back to Boba Fett
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
can't review the live action Lion King. I haven't even seen it. I I am in love with this show now. I just straight up am. Um, I don't know when it happened. I don't know if it was when the train scene happened. I don't know if it's when I watched Boba Fett make his staff. Um, I don't know if it was the dance at the end where I'm like, God, there's so much culture here, and it's
Hmm.
so neat to see. I don't know when it happened, but there was a point where like, and I messaged you before the episode ended, and I was like, we got to keep covering
Yeah.
this.
What point did you message me?
I think it was. I think I mentioned a point during the episode. There was definitely a point where I was like, shit, Black Chrysanthemum's in it,
Hmm.
where I almost messaged you, but I think it was the second he stole the motorbikes, and it was right before he like does the joke where he's like, "You ride it like a bantha." I think it was that point where I was like, "Are we gonna see Tuskens on fucking hover bikes?" Where I was like, "Okay, maybe we should cover this." I texted you and said it, and then the rest of the episode happened, and I
You
was like,
said dot dot dot. I think we should keep covering Boba Fett. Dot dot dot.
"Yeah." I was kind of cautious about it. Like I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
"I think we should," because this was
I,
before
I
they wrote
interpreted
it.
that as either the next episode is horrific or the next episode is great.
It was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I remember when like I was sick and there was just the discussion of, well, we don't have to cover it. I was like, nah, we gotta. I oh my god, just I think that since I went in and I was like, I don't want to see any more Tuscan stuff. When they showed it, I was like, all right, I guess. But God, it blew me out of the water. There's so much symbolism. I love that they keep cutting back to him as a kid. I love oh God, I just love hearing about how different cultures view the Force because to
Yeah.
me, this is how the Sand People view it, and I I think that like obviously the Night Sisters on Dathomir have their own expression of it, where
Hmm.
here it's more like tribal, and it almost seems like this is just how we become us. This stick
It's a rite
is
of
part of you.
passage.
Yeah, the staff is part of you. And I remember when he got the branch, I remember sitting there and being like, "You're not supposed to do that. When you carve from a tree, you're not supposed to use the branches because they're not actually stable." But then I also remembered, well, in that one episode of Star Wars, a Wookiee made their lightsaber hilt out of wood, and it was established that the wood was as strong as metal.
Hmm.
So
And
I,
it's a magical force tree, so who cares?
yeah, and I also was like, okay, it's not the whole stick; it's just like the hilt of it. Like the
Hmm.
rest is the blade. I forgave that. I can ignore that because
Yeah.
him getting the branch is so cool.
Yeah. And then he makes it himself with the other guy sort of showing him how to do it.
I noticed the little pattern at the end.
Hmm.
That was all him. Like the other guy
Yeah.
helped him a little. And God, this is gonna be such a fucking reference. It reminded me of the movie Surfs Up, where the main
Okay.
character Penguin in that has to make his own surfboard.
Hmm.
And it's like part of his training. Like at first he's like, I could just use your board, or okay, and he's just chipping away at it real quick. But then he finally sits down and he's like, okay, I'll make my own board. I'll do it really slowly. I'll make it, and it's mine. And that's when he actually gets to start training.
Hmm.
Here it felt more like, no, no, no. You make this, and you're done. This is the ending. You do this. You are one of the Tuscans. And I love that, like, we saw subtitles of him saying, I want to give you a gift. I want you to be part of our tribe.
Yeah.
It was great, man.
Which I think is the first time we've ever had a translation for Tuscans.
I I noticed I noticed this in the last episode. I think going forward they're only going to translate the languages when the people hearing them understand it.
Hmm.
Because if you'll remember, there's a reference where it's like, did you get any of what that guy said? Because they didn't translate it.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But they translate like another guy, so it only makes sense if it's like, okay, if we understand it, you get the translation. And obviously, Boba knows their language now.
Yeah.
I just,
Again, it's that joke from that Lego Star Wars thing where they're in, I think they go to like the Mos Eisley Cantina and they knock over a wall and Jabba's behind it and he starts talking and the subtitles appear and then they cut to a different angle, like over Jabba's shoulder, and you see the back of the subtitles.
I, I just love this tribal nature that the Tuscans now have. I love it. I adore it. And never in my life, like even when I was like, yeah, I guess there's some parts of like a Boba Fett thing that would be cool to see. Never in my life was I like, I want to see him hang out in the desert with a bunch of people. But it makes so much sense. And these storytellers, like, they kind of seem to know what's up. Like, it almost seems like to a degree, I don't know what's up yet because it's like, I'm doing this critically and I'm trying to, like, break it down. And they're like, listen, do you see what we're doing with the flashback stuff? Just wait. We got you covered with the A plot. We'll get there.
Hmm.
I hope that to be true.
Yeah.
I'm liking it so far. You got any more notes?
Lizard plus spice equals trip. Awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Honestly, it was a rough
I've written
trip.
awesome. Tree? How? Awesome.
Where
Written
did
that
he
twice. Nice.
find the tree? I would wager we never see that tree again.
No,
Like, I don't think he goes back.
I think again, if we're going for like a force connection there, I think that's just sort of a
Mm.
Perhaps it might be one of the only sort of.
Oh my god, I'm thinking
No, it's not
about
a
that.
It's not a force sensitive location, but it's that
Well,
sort of thing.
I think it might actually be a force sensitive location, and the lizard, like, I'm wondering if the lizard actually did enable him to go to some sort of force spirit realm, because I'm just now realizing the logic of a tree in the desert and how that makes no goddamn sense. So,
Mm.
was it real? Was it part of the trip? I think we're not
He
supposed
came
to
back
know.
with a branch.
He came back with a branch, meaning it was real, but was it real as in it was our plane? Or was it like doing this thing they've learned, you can actually tap into the Force? And if we're going with the time travel thing, maybe you can literally pull a tree from the time. Like, maybe you can visit a tree from the time of when it was actually all water.
Mm. I've seen. I don't remember whose breakdown it was of the episode, but there's two trees there. There's the big one and there's the small one. And people are like, oh, well, it
That might mean shit.
representing the Tuscans, the tall one, and the Jawas, the short one. And it's maybe this is a place on the planet of sort of cultural and spiritual significance to both races for whatever reason. And it's like I like the idea, and I also don't want them to tell us if it is
Well,
another plane, if it is World Between Worlds, if it is cool.
this
Don't
was
tell us.
this was my take. And it was just my immediate take. I acknowledge this is probably not correct. Um, I was thinking, since it kept flashbacking to Camino, the big
Mm.
tree is Boba Fett, the son of Jango Fett. The smaller tree is Omega, the daughter of Boba Fett. I mean,
Okay.
Jango Fett.
Django.
That would be
Ooh,
real weird.
okay.
Well, they're clones. It's not as weird as it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I just really loved it. Like, it was the trippy shit I really like seeing in anything, but also, like, it just had the Star Wars flair. And the fact that he comes back, he looks beaten and broken, but he's holding that stick.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look angry. Like, if I were him, I would be beating to death all of them with that stick. Like, I was not
Okay,
expecting
Anakin.
this
Okay,
drug trip.
okay, okay.
Look, he was just sitting there, hanging out, expecting some dinner, maybe a little gift, and then suddenly, nah, Spirit Quest, go get the fucking branch. They couldn't have told him, hey, you're gonna do this last trial for us. I would have been pissed. I would have looked at the chief and been like, yo, fuckface, hey. Not cool. I would have done it. Not cool. Like, I would have slept for days after what he went through.
Man didn't even have to dress himself. They're like, come on.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
Every time he's in that BAFTA tank, I'm like, man, I get it. You've been through some shit.
Yeah. No. I don't think. I wrote that I'm worried for the kid. That's sort of one of my last sort of notes here.
Oh?
The kid Tuscan, because either is going to be completely fine and will be with the tribe and we never see them again, is going to be completely fine, is with the tribe when they show up again, or something bad's going to happen to that kid.
I do have a theory.
Because there's three distinct Tuscans in this tribe. There's the leader, there's the warrior, and there's the kid. Okay. This is the one he sort of first started bonding with and everything. There was a moment where I thought the kid had died when the train comes by and Boba carries one of the bodies to the sort of pyre. I'm like, oh no.
I mean,
I feel. Oh, and then it's not that kid. It's someone else. But it's like I felt sad there.
we know something has to happen where Boba leaves the tribe. Him saving this kid is how he ingrained himself in. What if him letting the kid die is how he loses that? I'm just saying.
I hope not. I hope not.
There's a good ending where Boba realizes I can't stay with this tribe. I have to go find my own way. And there's a
Mm.
bad ending where he's casted out. There are two endings to this.
Yeah.
Also, I'm only now thinking about it. I find it a little sus that they immediately made Boba like a slave, but they didn't do anything to Din when they met him. Like Din had dinner with them and hung out.
Different tribes.
I mean, to be fair, one of those could have been Boba. Like, it's still part of me is like, maybe that was Boba just hanging out with him.
Wearing very different robes and everything.
Well,
Because
when
Boba's tribe sort of wear these sort of black ones. The ones that Din encounters are the sort of traditional sand-colored
I think there's two.
robe.
There's one that he hangs out with, like camping in the desert, and then there's the ones he meets, and he's like, okay, we'll take out the Great Dragon with you. I think the ones he camps with, one of those could have been Boba. I don't know. I
Maybe.
don't know if Boba could have hit that from him though. I don't know.
But that could be an interesting angle if Boba sort of, if he leaves this tribe to go around and try and help the other ones.
That is interesting. Well, they mentioned the tribes. I kind of assumed Boba united them all,
Hmm?
or at least united some of them. I don't know,
Which is the
man.
thing is like he's. I'm waiting for the reveal, kind of that. Yeah, he's.
Jack? Jack? Uh-oh. Well, chat. Jack screwed up for a second. So I think we're going to pause for just a sec till Jack can come back. See you when he's not dead. And we're
Oh,
back. Jack's
yeah,
alive.
yeah. Was just saying, what you call it, Boba, uniting the tribes, traveling around different tribes. What
Mm-hmm.
was it? I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, samesies.
Okay.
I
Uh,
I don't
Again,
know.
well, that's me basically out of notes. So,
I mean, here's the thing. If Omega shows up in the show, I don't know if it makes a ton of sense to do it. Like maybe a tease for season 2 potentially.
hmm.
Or show her in season 2. That's what I would prefer. Um, I just don't know because it feels like if I'm going by these 2 episodes and nothing else, it feels like this show wants to be here's who Boba Fett is going forward. This is why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
I just wonder what Boba's role is going to be in the future. Because I feel like you don't do this for no reason. And we're focusing a lot about the time between Return of the Jedi and the sequel trilogy. I think the way you... Because once again, the problem with stories of this nature is it's a prequel. So since we know where this kind of goes, we know that the First Order eventually shows up and stuff. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, this is just filler. But if you tell the story the right way and make it feel more impactful, like maybe Boba Fett literally just becomes this great leader that people tell stories about later down the line. And maybe he
Hmm.
does decide to help out with Mandalore. Maybe that's his big role in the future.
Yeah, because he's on the poster for season 3 of Mandalorian, isn't he?
Is the poster out?
I think so. I saw like some promo thing. There's like Din in the middle, Bo and Boba. I think.
Let me give it a Google real fast. Mandalorian Season 3 poster. Because I don't even know if Grogu's going to be in Season 3. You know?
Where is he? Yes, when you Google Mandalorian season 3 poster, it's like the third one in. Is the one that I've seen. Disney Plus streaming January 10th.
Uh,
Oh, is
I don't
that
see it.
last season?
I would say it's
It might
probably
have been last
last
season's
season.
one.
I feel like if it wasn't, I feel like more people would have talked about it. You know,
Hmm.
like I feel like that would have broke the
I
internet
made
for
a
a few days.
it's a fan made thing. Never mind.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I don't think we get Boba in season 3 of The Mandalorian. I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love to get him. I don't think we do. A 1 episode cameo, perhaps.
Hmm.
I'd love to see it.
I think if there's, if it's not running in tandem with this show, if it's sort of there's a bit of time in between the two,
Mm.
I could see potentially, by the time, oh, we need equipment, we need supplies, we need weapons or something, so they go to their mate Boba to stock up.
I
Could see that.
Once again, slight tangent. I'll just say it real fast, and then we can go into final thoughts and stuff. I would love it if Mandalorian season 3 is like, we're going to learn about the Mandalorian's views on the Force, because there was only
Hmm.
one Mandalorian Jedi, and he created the Darksaber. So I am fascinated to learn about that.
Yeah.
Again, dude, you just got to show me how all these different cultures view the Force, and I am in. But do you have any final thoughts leading into your ranking?
This episode alone has got me wanting to make a Tuscan cosplay.
Yeah.
If I lived in the US and I could go to Star Wars Celebration, I would be making it now. I'd be learning that dance.
I honestly want to draw out like a Tuscan Raider Sona, kind of
Hmm.
what everyone did with Spider Sonas
Yeah.
when Spider Verse came out. Like I could customize my mask to look a little different from the other masks. I could have different
Which they do. Everyone's is different already.
I could have different rags on my robes, and I could like make my stick look a little different. I'm just
Yeah.
into it, man.
This was really good. Quick burn through any other thoughts in my head. Again, the performances were great. I do hope we get more of Ming-Na Wen's Fennec. Give her a little more to do, which I feel like we'll get, giving us more time in the present day. We're gonna get it, but at the moment, I was about to say it is kind of the Boba Fett show, and then I realized that is literally what this is.
The show is literally. Yeah, but she's not even a sidekick right now. Like, she's just kind of there sometimes. She's not even technically. Like, in episode 1, I would say, okay, you're like part of the team.
Hmm.
You're like you're not a co-star, but you're there. You're pretty cool. In this episode, it's, hey, Fennec. Bye, Fennec.
Yeah. Watch my back during these talks with other people. Thanks.
I'm just saying.
Give us more Fennec.
I will ask this question because we sort of talked about them potentially becoming friends. Do you want to see them fight that Wookiee, though?
Yeah. I mean, them becoming friends, him sort of joining their team. Yeah, I could see. I could also see just no. This is your rival.
I just really like the idea of Boba having Finnick to his right, Black Chrysanthemum to his left, just on that throne.
Yeah, I do think it's I think it's probably because we can't really have an action. I mean, they might. Who knows? That might be why they're CG, but.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can necessarily convincingly do a Boba Fett versus Hutt fight scene. I feel like he's here to be the muscle, to be the direct force, the hand that they use to fight you.
Final theories before the next episode, and then we'll give rankings and stuff. Who does Boba Fett need to ask permission from?
I'm going with Big Mama. That's my guess.
I don't know if she would give him permission to kill other Hutts. I don't.
She wasn't a big fan of Zero. I mean, who knows?
I mean, maybe it's completely possible.
If you've fallen
God, I
out of
don't want to
favor
see
with the
her.
head honcho, she might give you permission. Who
I
knows?
just don't want to see her. I also don't love that she spoke English. I never liked that. I never
Eh,
like it when the Huts. The only time I liked it was the Lego Halloween special because that made me laugh. I did not. I hated Zero. I hated him. Uh, but I guess the guess that I'll give is it has to be somebody from the Republic.
okay.
Uh, I'm not gonna say it's like Luke or uh, like
Leia or
Han,
Han or
but we could
Trapper
potentially
Wolf.
see. I mean, we could potentially see one of like the other characters, like Mont Mothra, for example.
Mm,
I I don't know who is in charge of like the legal proceedings when it comes to this stuff, but
yeah.
I think we're gonna see somebody who's like, you know, a member of the Star Wars government.
Hmm. I think. I think. I mean, we are just saying each of our theories. I don't go with that because I'm gonna go to the government and ask for permission to murder someone.
I mean, it's a hut.
It's a
It,
hut, but they're always. I mean, New Republic things might be different, but they've always been their own sort of thing that we don't mess with.
it's kind of like a criminal asking a police officer if he can kill another criminal. Like it's
Hmm.
one of those things where it's like morally gray, where the police officer might be like, "Well, you're a bad guy and murder is bad, but this other person's bad too."
Yeah, I, I could see that. I think phrasing it as asking permission would be a little weird with that, but no,
Yeah,
certainly can see it going that way now that you've said it. Yeah,
but what criminal like? Essentially, like
that's what
if
I'm saying. That the head of the mafia, the one in charge.
well, if Boba's supposed to be in charge, like that's kind of how I always viewed it.
Hmm.
So, like, I guess maybe there's like a planetary mafia where it's like Boba Fett's in charge of this one planet, and then there's space mafia, I guess, where it's like,
Hmm.
no, we're in charge of everything. So
Well,
maybe that's
that's it.
his
You got
boss.
the Huts are a crime family. There's Hut Space, that whole section that they run.
I mean, the Empire is still around, so maybe it could be someone
Mm.
from that. I don't know.
Uh, yeah, lots of ways that could go.
Also, I want to say that your prediction last round of saying maybe Stinky would show up was kind of right because Huts did show up. It just
We
wasn't
got
him.
Huts. We got Huts. Yeah.
It just makes me wonder what the fuck did happen to Java's kid and where the fuck is he?
Don't know what the current canon or legends or what is. I don't even know if Filoni would want to bring him back, but
I mean, Filoni brought him back in a couple episodes. They referenced
yeah.
that he existed in Clone Wars.
Hmm.
He showed up again. I don't know. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care about
Don't care
Java's
one way or the
kid.
other.
But
Uh,
my final thoughts and ranking is I like this episode a lot more than the last episode. I I'm